3 a.m. horror, divers' shocking discovery in the depths. What haunts them now? The clock struck 3. Everything felt different. The moon hung high, casting an eerie glow on the waves. The ocean brimmed with secrets, twisting shadows lurking beneath the surface. It was the kind of night that prickled the skin, whispering of things best left undiscovered. This unsettling backdrop served as a stage for what was about to unfold, a dive that would plunge not just into the water, but into the very depths of fear itself. Sam, our brave diver, peered into the inky depths, heart racing. He felt the weight of the ocean surrounding him, heavy and suffocating. But he couldn't turn back now. His flashlight flickered, dancing like a firefly, illuminating brief glimpses of a world few dared to explore. Strange shapes loomed, indistinct but palpably foreboding. The salty water tugged at him, urging him forward into the dark embrace. Then, it happened. A glint caught his eye, a shimmering object nestled against the jagged rocks. Sam's breath hitched. Was it treasure? Or something far more sinister? He reached out, fingers trembling as they brushed against the cold surface. It was smooth, too smooth. A bone, a human bone, encrusted with barnacles. Panic surged through him, tightening his chest like a vice. That's when the whispers started, soft, haunting murmurs that seemed to arise from the ocean itself. Who could it be, still bound to these depths? He thrashed back, every instinct screaming to escape. Breathing felt like a constricting coil. Other divers had gone missing in these waters, stories of errant souls dragged under, never to return. Sam's mind raced. Had he crossed into a curse much larger than himself? He glanced around, his pulse like a war drum in the silence. The shadows felt alive, watching, waiting. Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Back to the abyss. The darkness around him shifted, an unnatural current throwing him off balance. The whispers grew louder, echoing in the water, wrapping around him like cold tendrils. Something was down here, and it was not friendly. Sam turned, desperate to claw his way back to the surface. But with each desperate kick, the shadows closed in around him, pulling him deeper and deeper into the clutches of the unknown. What haunted these depths? As his oxygen waned, a chilling thought gripped him. Would he be just another lost voice, trapped in the watery grave where the ocean keeps its darkest secrets? Sam's heart raced, pounding like a war drum in his chest as he thrashed against the mounting darkness. His mind screamed for him to fight, yet the shadows felt as if they had a tangible grip on him, yanking him downward, deeper into despair. The fear pounded through his veins like ice, freezing him with the thought of becoming one with the lost souls whispered about by fishermen and local legends. The bone. Visions of the smooth, ghostly surface surged back, piercing through the panic. Latching onto the last remnants of rational thought, Sam forced himself to concentrate. He couldn't let the ocean claim him, not like this. He clawed at the water, and as he kicked harder, he felt a jarring jolt like a hand grasping at his ankle. His breath hitched, a scream trapped in his throat. Above him, the light from the moon danced over the surface, a distant beacon of hope just out of reach. It felt like it mocked him now, further away with every kick. He strained to calm himself, focusing on his dive watch, time slipping through his fingers. His tank's pressure gauge was dropping, each tick feeling like a countdown to doom. Then came a revelation, a sight that silenced the whispers. Just beneath him, a dark shape emerged from the murk. At first, he dismissed it as a rock or a trick of light, but it drew closer, pulsating, undulating like a heartbeat. It was a massive figure, almost translucent, swaying gently in the water, glistening like it belonged to a creature of nightmares. Sam's stomach dropped. It was not merely a shadow, but a looming specter that seemed to thrive in the depths. "Get away!" he muttered as he churned the water harder, pushing himself, fighting against tenacity that threatened to pull him under. The whispers crescendoed around him, flaring into a cacophony, voices merging pleas, cries, and an unmistakable echo of laughter. Who were they? His fear transformed into sheer terror as realization set in. These were the souls of those who never made it back to the surface, to the world above. An instinctual surge prompted him not to look down, but he couldn't resist. Entranced by the creature, he turned and his eyes widened. It had elongated limbs, pale skin, and eyes like liquid onyx. It stared back, unblinking, a perfect embodiment of dread. Gripping his throat, Sam gasped. Was he witnessing a warning? Or a taunt? His lungs screamed for air, but he couldn't look away. With one last surge of willpower, he kicked hard, propelling himself towards the dim rays of light shimmering above. But the creature followed, thrumming in the depths, its whispers now a haunting symphony all around him. He felt it close in, an icy presence wrapping around him as if it were trying to pull him back, beckoning him to join its abyssal dance. Everything felt slowed down, yet tension coiled like a spring, tighter and tighter, threatening to snap. Sam's air supply dwindled, panic engulfed him like a tidal wave. Just as he broke the surface, gasping for air, he glimpsed a reflection in the water, a brief flash of a face, familiar yet distorted, just beneath the crest. "Help! Someone help!" he shouted, voice cracking, but the night swallowed his plea. The ocean felt alive, a monster's maw waiting patiently to seal his fate. What other secrets lay below? His throat tightened. He was not free yet. Was the real terror still lurking beneath him, waiting for the moment he dipped back below? Deep down, he sensed something even darker, something he'd have to confront. But what awaited him next? Would he dare to dive back again? Sam gasped, pulling in the salty air as he clambered onto the bobbing boat, heart thundering in his ears like an incessant drum. The deck swayed beneath his feet, a vile reminder of the terror he had just fled. He glanced back at the tranquil water, moonlight spilling over its surface, painting it with a deceptive beauty. There was no sign of the creature, nor those haunting faces. But he felt their presence lingering, like a chill whispering at the back of his mind. "Hey! You okay?" A voice broke through the fog of his thoughts. It was Jake, the dive instructor, his brow furrowed with concern. Sam could see the worry etched into his friend's features, a blend of apprehension and disbelief. "I saw something in the water." Sam stammered, adrenaline and fear crashing through him like waves against a rocky shore. It was enormous, and its eyes, there was something about its eyes. "Slow down, man. You've just had a rough dive," Jake said cautiously, stepping closer. "We've all had moments down there. Maybe it was a shark or no. You don't understand." Sam interrupted, shaking his head vehemently. "It wasn't a fish. It was alive, but different. Like it belonged beneath a grave. It drew me in with its whispers." Jake exchanged a glance with the other divers on the boat, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. "You might just be disoriented. The ocean can mess with your head." A bitter laugh bubbled up from Sam's throat. "Disoriented? I just escaped a nightmare." He could feel the tremors in his limbs, the cold sweat rolling down his back. The vivid image of that creature haunted him, its elongated limbs and liquid eyes burned into his memory. "No one can dive deeper than 100 feet here. We'd know if something lived below that." Jake placed a reassuring hand on Sam's shoulder. "We need to let this go." But Sam couldn't shake the feeling it was more than just a dive. He clutched the railing, staring into the water below. What if others had seen it too? What if it was a warning, or worse, a call to the lost souls? The whispers echoed in his mind, circling like sharks. How many had perished beneath those waves, becoming part of that sinister tapestry? "We've gotta go back down," he declared suddenly, the words spilling out before he could stop himself, igniting a spark of shock in Jake's dark eyes. "Are you nuts? You could barely handle it just now." Jake huffed, folding his arms, but the tension was palpable. Others began to murmur, some nodding in agreement. "What if there's something down there we can't ignore?" Sam pressed, desperation lacing his voice. He was already picturing the dive gear and the pressure that would build as they descended again into darkness, past echoes of the unknown. Doubt flickered on Jake's face. The crew was restless. "Fine. But if you don't come back up, we're not sending a team after you. You can't play with shadows, Sam." He swallowed hard, the wave of finality washing over him. Should he dare to face the abyss once more? What if he could discover the truth? The whispers promised knowledge, but what other horrors lay in waiting? Sam prepared himself for the descent, his heart both eager and terrified. If the creature wasn't just a figment of fear but a guardian of secrets, then perhaps it was his destiny to confront it. Soon, he would find out just how deep the darkness ran. "Are you in or out?" He glanced back at Jake, who hesitated, the weight of the decision hanging between them. Underneath that shimmering surface lay a world of secrets, and he was determined to unearth them, no matter the cost. What would he learn? And would he be ready for what awaited him in the depths? Sam adjusted his dive mask, the cold rubber prickling against his skin as doubt and determination twisted within him like raging currents. The light from the surface twinkled above, a million stars out of reach, each glimmer a beacon drawing him into the water's embrace. Tension hung thick in the air as he prepared to submerge again, a lifeline thrown into an abyss he barely understood. "Remember, Sam. Stick together." Jake's voice called after him, strained with worry. He nodded, although deep down, the thrill of unearthing the truth pushed him into the depths of the ocean that felt like a dwelling for nightmares. As Sam plunged beneath the waves, the cacophony of the surface world faded into a muffled silence. The water enveloped him, cool and heavy, wrapping him in its clammy grip. He breathed through his regulator, forcing himself to stay calm, but his heart raced as the darkness swallowed him whole. A single beam of flashlight cut through the inkiness, casting eerie shadows that danced like phantoms around him. Sam swam deeper, urging his lungs to expand, each kick of his fin sending ripples through that pitch-black expanse. The whispers he'd heard earlier rushed back to him, more frantic now, twisting and tangling like seaweed around his thoughts. They beckoned, teasing promises of secrets hidden in the depths. The creature stirred in his mind a specter that made his skin crawl as he pressed onward. Silence reigned apart from the rhythmic sound of his breathing, and he fought the urge to look back up. What waited in the depths? The underwater terrain shifted. He glided over rocky outcroppings that jutted like bones from the ocean floor, formations so ancient they seemed to breathe. Shadows flitted through the crevices, and Sam's grip tightened upon his flashlight. He forced himself to focus, peering into hidden nooks. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught his eye. He froze, the beam illuminating a dark shape darting just beyond reach, rippling with a fluid grace that tore through the water. Sam's breath hitched as he processed what he was seeing, the silhouette of something enormous, slinking just outside the light's grasp. It disappeared into the void, and his instincts screamed at him to follow. The very air hummed with an energy that pulled him closer, an unnameable force that drove him to chase the unknown. With each stroke, his resolve hardened, and an uncontrollable urge gripped him. He had to find it. Glancing around, Sam caught a glimpse of Jake and the other divers, shadows in the distance, hesitant and uncertain. But the deeper he went, the louder the whispers grew, drowning out the distant sounds of his companions. Fear and fascination warred within him as he ventured towards the dark patch of water that appeared to pulse like a living being. A surge of dread washed over him, a wave crashing over the thrill of discovery. What if it wasn't a guardian but a predator? What if the whispers were not a call to understanding but a lure, guiding him towards his doom? Panic kicked in, tightening his chest off. There was still time to turn back, yet, before he could act on that instinct, the water erupted into chaos around him. An explosion of bubbles enveloped him like a shroud as a bone-chilling voice echoed, majestic and eerie, reverberating in his skull. come to us, join us." The call was seductive and intoxicating, a tantalizing promise of forbidden knowledge. Helpless against the pull of the unseen force, Sam lost track of time. He was swept away, spiraling into darkness, drawn deeper than he ever thought possible. What had he truly unearthed below the waves? Would he discover answers, or had he just become another whisper in the depths? Sam fought to control his breath as the mesmerizing currents dragged him further into the dark expanse. The bone-chilling voice faded in and out, teasing him, tempting him. Each pulse of sound felt like a seductive caress against his mind, dismantling his resolve piece by piece. "What have I done?" he muttered into his regulator, the weight of his decision pressing in like the water around him. As he plunged deeper, the shadows thickened. A flicker of panic surged within him, he was losing touch with reality. Instinct made him look back at the dwindling glimmers above, but the world above was now a distant memory, replaced by oppressive darkness. Then, abruptly, everything changed. A luminescent glow burst forth from a cavern opening nearby, shimmering shades of blue and green that pulsed rhythmically. The whispers morphed into an enchanting symphony, pulling at every fiber of his being. Emotion surged within Sam: fear, curiosity, maybe even a hint of exhilaration. Was this the ancient mystery he had sought? He swam toward the light, ignoring the black swirling void that lurked behind him. The pulsing grew stronger, vibrating through the water and engulfing him in a tangible energy. With each stroke, the water felt denser, as if it carried the weight of countless secrets, and the air vibrated with unspoken power. In the glow, he spotted the origins of the enchanting light. It was a cluster of ethereal creatures, swimming gracefully like living jewels, their forms almost too beautiful to be real. Their bodies undulated with liquid grace, shimmering in ever-changing hues. Sam's breath caught in his throat. Was this what he had been lured towards? Guardian spirits of the deep? But as he got closer, a deep-seated chill crept into his bones. Their eyes, vast and deep like the ocean itself, held unfathomable wisdom, but there was something else there, something dark. "Join us." Their thoughts invaded him, almost a tangible whip of sound that sent ripples throughout the water. The words resonated in his core, but instead of inviting warmth, he felt a jolt of revulsion. They were not protectors. They were something altogether different. Sam instinctively pushed away, the seductive pull replaced by a deeper instinct for survival. Yet even as he pushed away, their haunting forms surrounded him, threading through the water like strands of a web, pulling tighter, tighter than something sharp bit into his leg. A scream lodged in his throat, amplified inside his mask. The pain radiated, as icy water flooded the wound. He kicked hard, trying to escape, but the creatures twisted around him. Darkness blurred at the edges of his vision, and he felt his strength waning. He mustered the last of his will and propelled himself upwards, the glowing forms thrumming around him, their whispers now a threatening chant. "Stay, be one of us." Each stroke felt heavier as the light above flickered closer yet seemed so far away. His heart thundered against his chest, the haunting call became a terrifying chorus, each note dragging him deeper into despair. Finally, breaking the surface, Sam gasped for air, desperation filling his lungs. The boat loomed nearby, the reassuring sound of Jake calling out to him grounding him momentarily. But would he be free of the pull? Would he retain his spirit, or had he caught a piece of the mystery that could never let go? He looked back into the water, where the glow now faded, nothing but a shadow of memory. What lived in those depths? And what had he just become a part of? Sam took a deep breath and dove again, but this time not towards the light. This time he was determined to uncover the truth behind the darkness and its sinister whispers. What awaited him beneath the surface that could change everything? As Sam plunged once more into the abyss, his heart raced like a stitched-up wild thing, a pulse fueled by dread and thrill. The cold water enveloped him, wrapping around him like a clingy, shadowed shroud. Each kick pushed him deeper into the unknown, darkness flowing like a river, cold and malevolent. He swiveled his head, scanning the depths, eyes wide and searching. The ocean was a cathedral of shadows, swirling shapes and veils of uncertainty lurking just out of sight. This was no ordinary dive, this was a descent into chaos, where sanity battled against the seductive call of the deep. Sam remembered the pain in his leg. A sharp, electric reminder that the depths weren't welcoming. He winced, fingers grazing the gash beneath the suit. The flicker of fear sliced through him, mixing with adrenaline. He had to know. He had to confront whatever horror resided below. With a mind pulled every which way by lingering whispers, he pushed down the icy stabs of uncertainty, firming his resolve. As he settled into a steady rhythm, the temperature dropped further, the pressure enveloping him like a vice, squeezing out the last drops of safety. The squawking echoes of the above had faded into a haunting silence that weighed heavy. Then something moved in the shadows. Sam squinted, breath coming in quick bursts as he focused on a darker silhouette wedged against a rocky jagged outcrop. It shifted, barely visible, the features indistinct but pulsating with the same dark vibrancy of the glowing creatures. A chill trailed along his spine. Were these entities guarding the entrance to something forbidden? With cautious precision, he swam nearer. Fear mingled with a desperate curiosity. What would he find? The urge to flee warred with the need to understand. The silhouette seemed to whisper, its form undefined yet calling him closer. "Can you hear us?" a voice echoed, soft yet haunting, resonating within him like distant thunder. Sam's heart raced as he advanced. He recognized features of face formed from the very shadows that shrouded it. A woman? A creature? Her eyes glinted like sharpened obsidian, a void that seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. "What do you want?" he rasped, the words barely registering in the heavy waters. "Truth lies within," she replied, the sound curving through the current and grasping his heart. "Join us. We are all that remains." Her voice curled around him, heavier than the depths. An uninvited sensation filled Sam, a sludge of dread mixed with an alluring calm. "No!" he shouted, twisting in the water, body instinctively recoiling. Something tightened around his ankles, the creatures from before. They swirled around him, almost like a warning circle, their glittering bodies illuminating the dark with menacing intent. Panic surged as he felt their presence closing in, shadows stretching like talons. He kicked ferociously, desperate to break free, his eyes trained on the distant surface glimmering above, so tantalizing yet unattainable. "There is nowhere to run." The woman's voice echoed, sharp and gleeful. That was it, an omnipresent dread, the realization crashing over him, escape was futile. They were an entity. They didn't want him to leave, and in that moment he understood, he had crossed a threshold. He was part of their haunting, part of the unfolding shadows. As Sam's oxygen levels plummeted dangerously low, he felt consciousness slip, visions swirling with nightmarish clarity. The darkness was calling, and with each flicker of his will, he could feel himself slipping, but the thing that tore through him relentlessly was a question: what truth awaited him in the dark? And then, a surge, a flicker of hope. He spotted an opening in the canyon wall, a jagged tunnel radiating a faint glow. It was a beckoning light, and deep down, he knew he had no choice. He fought against the pull, against the darkness that swirled relentlessly, seeking escape through the glowing mouth of the cave. What secrets lurked within that tunnel? What awaited Sam in the true depths of despair? The moment Sam plunged into the tunnel, the world around him shifted. The darkness broke into shards, illuminated by an otherworldly glow that flickered and danced along the rough, damp walls. It felt alive, breathing in sync with his quickening heart. He pushed himself forward, his limbs aching and heavy like lead. Panic threatened to rise as he fought against the tide of shadows that swirled behind him, but the pulsing light ahead ignited a flicker of determination. What lay beyond that entrance? A secret? An escape? As he sank deeper into the tunnel, the water temperature plummeted further, biting into his skin. The weight of the obsidian shadows still enveloped him, but now they felt like a claustrophobic embrace rather than a looming menace. With every stroke, he felt the presence of the creatures lingering behind, their dark forms coiling like smoke. The tunnel narrowed, and Sam squeezed through a tight spot, a trickle of fear wrapping around his spine like a creeping vine. Finally, he burst into a cavern vast and echoing, with soft, ethereal light spilling from the glowing formations that clung to the ceilings like otherworldly chandeliers. His breaths came in sharp bursts, each exhale mixing with the damp, cold air. The luminous structures oozed a substance that sparkled like diamonds under the alien light, casting uneven patterns on the rugged floor. Laughter, lilting and distant, floated through the air, twirling around him like a ribbon beckoning him closer. "Welcome, Sam," the woman's voice drifted through the space, seductive yet foreboding. Her form emerged from the shadows, gliding through the water, every movement fluid and haunting. "You sought the truth. It awaits you here." "What truth?" Sam gasped, eyes darting around the cavern. The beauty felt sinister, as if the light was a trap designed to ensnare him further into the depths. "Let me go." But she only smiled, an eerie tilt of her lips that sent shivers flooding through him. Her eyes glowed brighter now, drowning the cavern in an oppressive warmth. "You cannot leave until you understand." And just like that, the atmosphere shifted. The ghostly laughter morphed into whispers, voices woven with anguish and longing. Strange shapes writhed just beyond the reach of the light, lingering in the darkness. They reached out with shadowy tendrils, their intentions unclear but suffocating. Sam's breath quickened, pain radiated through his leg, and confusion thudded in his chest. "What do you want from me?" He loathed admitting the fear that gripped him, wanting desperately to break free of the emotional vice tightening around him. "Your truth is our truth, your fear our meal." She extended a hand, her fingers trailing through the streams of luminous algae that covered the cave walls. "Join us, embrace what you see." Images flooded his thoughts, drowning horrors from his past, memories long buried beneath waves of guilt. Faces flickered in and out, moments of lost dreams and opportunities snuffed out, and he realized these possessed remnants weren't just shadows, they were the souls of those who had fallen before him, held captive in this abyss. "No!" he shouted, rage lighting a fire in his gut. They wanted him to surrender, to succumb to the darkness he'd fought all his life. He pushed back with every ounce of strength. But the pull of the shadows was powerful, and Sam felt himself drawn to the edge of the glowing abyss. The cavern throbbed with a pulsing energy that whispered sweet lies into his ears. "Join us," she urged again, her voice an intoxicating melody. The world slipped through his fingers as he battled to resist. This was his moment, he could either fight or merge into the swirling chaos that sought to claim him. In this cacophony of memories and shadows, he screamed against the onslaught, "I'm not yours." But as the darkness converged and threatened to consume him whole, he spotted another tunnel on the far side of the cavern, another escape route, tethered with uncertainty yet glowing faintly with promise. Could he reach it? Or would he succumb to the chorus of despair? Would the truth liberate him, or would it bind him to this watery grave? Sam's heart thundered in his chest, drowning out the ghostly whispers that flickered around him, urging him to succumb. With one last glance at the enticing blue glow of the abyss, he made a split-second decision. He dashed toward the alternate tunnel, propelling himself with every ounce of adrenaline coursing through his veins. Cold water splashed against his skin, but the urgency fueled him. The oppressive reach of the shadows snapped at his heels like rabid dogs, and the laughter transformed into anguished cries. He could almost hear the souls wailing, begging him to join them, to end his fight. As he lunged into the new opening, the atmosphere shifted. The air thickened, pressing down on him like a moist blanket. For a brief moment, silence enveloped him, and he took a ragged breath. He had escaped the immediate threat, but the danger felt far from over. The path narrowed, jagged rocks closing in around him, making movement feel heavy and strained. He peered into the suffocating darkness ahead. It felt like staring into the abyss, an old friend he had long feared to embrace. "Sam!" The woman's voice echoed behind him, honeyed and sinister, laced with malice. "You can't run forever." Without looking back, he pushed onward, his limbs heavy with trepidation. The dim light was taunting, flickering sporadically as if it were breathing in rhythm with the cavernous whispers. Each step further sent a pulse of dread spiraling through him. Suddenly, the tunnel expanded again, opening into another cavern smaller than before, but thick with shadows. A low hum vibrated through the water, the remnants of lost souls lingering just beyond the shimmering light. They darted around the cavern walls like ghosts, drawn to his presence. "Over here!" A voice called out, urgent and raw. Sam spun around, confronting a figure half buried in the darkness. It was a man, wild-eyed and panic-stricken, clawing at the walls as if they might grant him salvation. "Help me!" he shouted, desperation cracking through his voice. "They won't let me go. They won't let any of us leave." Sam hesitated, torn between this new threat and the relentless pull of the shadows behind him. The man's own eyes were pools of terror, filled with an understanding that made Sam's skin crawl. This man had tasted the darkness, and it had marked him, but before he could respond, the laughter erupted again, a cacophony of manic glee echoing through the cavern. The woman appeared at the tunnel's entrance, her silhouette backlit by a glare of malevolent energy. "Don't listen to him, Sam. They're all trapped. Join us, and you will be free of the pain. Don't." The man screamed, jerking his head in frantic denial. "She lies. They feed off your fear. They are the shadows." Sam's heartbeat quickened as a battle raged inside him. Was it better to trust a stranger lost in despair or heed the alluring call of the woman who had named him? He gasped, wresting his mind from conflicting thoughts. With every second, he felt the shadows creeping closer, their whispers becoming maddening, urging him to embrace the darkness and let go. He wanted to scream, to let out every bit of fear weighing him down, but all he could manage was a timid croak. In that illuminated moment, he made another choice. He rushed toward the man, reaching out for him. "Let us get out of here together." But just as he grasped the man's wrist, a scream tore through the cavern, raw and desperate. The walls seemed to pulsate, shaking with energy. Sam looked back, and impossibly, the shadows twisted together, forming tendrils reaching for them both. A surge of energy coursed through the entities, snapping and crackling like static before lashing out, eager to reclaim their prize. "Go!" the man shouted, yanking away from Sam's grip. "You have to leave." "I can't." But Sam couldn't abandon him. The horror flickering across that man's face tethered Sam in place, his need to escape pitted against a primal urge to save, but the shadows were closing in, hungry and merciless. He had to decide. Save himself, or save another soul. The air thickened with tension. And as he glanced over his shoulder, the laughter reverberated violently in his ears. The tunnel behind beckoned him, but so did the man in front. Would he have the strength to make the right choice before time ran out? As the shadows wrapped around both their feet, threatening to pull them down into endless despair, fate hung in the balance, and Sam realized the only truth here was what he chose to believe. In that moment of paralyzing fear, a strange tremor of hope flickered within him. Could he find a way, however improbable, to save them both? The darkness tightened its grip, and Sam's scream echoed into the depths as he prepared to fight back. What awaited them beyond, when shadows and light clashed, was an uncertainty that loomed even greater than what already surrounded them. The shadows slithered around them, slick and insatiable, and Sam fought the urge to shrink back. His heart raced faster than ever as he lunged forward, driving himself deeper into the oppressive darkness. The man's terrified eyes mirrored the torment that surged through Sam, that gnawing need to either flee or freeze. "Please. Help me." The wild-eyed man clawed at the slick cave wall again, desperation turning his voice hoarse. "Don't let her take you." The woman's laughter snaked through the chamber, ringing clear as a bell. "Oh, Sam, you're just prolonging the inevitable. Why waste your strength on his lies? Join me, embrace the shadows, and you will know ecstasy." Amidst the clamor of her mocking tone, Sam felt the swell of darkness pulse around them, hungry and eager. It grasped at his ankles, an icy grip that promised both fear and surrender. This was it, the breaking point. He ripped his gaze from the woman, focusing solely on the man, who was now slipping inch by inch into the web of encroaching shadows. Sam could see the swirling darkness distorting the man's form, drawing him in, threatening to erase him from existence. "No!" Sam shouted, surging toward him. "I want to let you go." He reached out, grasping the man's hand with resolve. The chill of the shadows licked at his skin, but Sam's grip was firm. Somehow, right then, the fear morphed into something fiercer, a palpable will to fight, but the cavern rattled, shaking as if aware of his defiance. A loud crack split the air, drowning out the woman's devious taunts. The cave walls began to shimmer with flickering reflections, echoing centuries of sorrow. "Let go of him," the woman commanded, a thin veneer of rage threading through her honeyed voice. She advanced, each step a predatory slide through the dark. "You don't belong to him. You're meant for me." "No!" Sam shouted again, yanking the man toward him with all his might. He could feel their combined strength beginning to overpower the pull of the shadows. The darkness screamed as if enraged, thrashing around them. A sudden blinding light erupted from an unseen fissure in the cavern wall to Sam's right. It illuminated the shadows, scattering their grasp to reveal a glistening, iridescent pool of water. The sight felt impossibly liberating, yet dread lingered in the back of his mind. "Trust me. We can't just stand here," he urged, pulling harder. In a moment of sheer chaos, the man regained focus, his eyes wide as he caught a glimpse of the pool. "The water. The light. It's our chance." Sam activated every muscle, every ounce of energy, willing them both backward toward that dazzling shimmer. As they moved, the shadows shrieked, their laughter now laced with fury and fear, but just as they made a final leap toward safety, a tendril of darkness shot out, wrapping around the man's foot like a vice. He stumbled, his face twisted in anguish. "Go, Sam. You have to escape. Don't let them know." Sam was unstoppable. Fueled by an urgency he never knew he possessed, he lunged. With one last desperate effort, he grabbed at the man before the darkness could snatch him away. He felt a tug, a heart-stopping jolt, as if time itself seized. The shadows howled, ripping at him from every angle. But they broke through. A flash of light enveloped them, forcing the shadows to retreat. Just for a moment, they crashed into the radiant water, air bursting from their lungs in a spectacular inhalation of relief. The water, warm and embracing, shimmered around them, offering a fleeting sanctuary. But even as a sense of safety washed over Sam, a lurking doubt began to creep in. The woman stood at the edge of the pool, fury painted across her face, her shadow contorted into monstrous shapes. "You'll never be free. You are tethered to me forever." In that instant, reality danced precariously, and Sam gasped. Had they truly escaped, or was this a cruel illusion masquerading as salvation? The remnants of darkness coiled behind them in the water, an unyielding reminder that danger had only just begun. As he turned to face the man, confusion danced in his eyes. "What do we do now? Are we really safe?" Before the man could respond, the surface of the water rippled ominously, and the glimmer of deceit glinted in the shadows. A deep voice bellowed from below, reverberating through the walls. "You think you've chosen freedom? You are merely pawns in a larger game." Uncertainty clawed at Sam's gut as panic surged back. With the threat looming larger than ever, they stood on the threshold of a conflict that promised to be the ultimate test of their will. What dark entity awaited them, and at what cost would they claim their freedom? The turbulent waters churned around them, a cacophony of sound muffled by the overwhelming weight of both fear and truth. Sam's heart hammered as he grasped the man's arm tighter. The sparkling depths whispered seductions, but they were drowned out by the dark voice that reverberated through the cavern, a deep, growling menace threatening to envelop them again. "What do we do?" the man rasped, panic etched across his features. "What just happened?" Sam clenched his jaw, forcing himself to focus. We need to get moving. We can't stay here. The radiant pool shimmered invitingly, but lurking beyond its glow was the suffocating darkness, ready to reclaim them at any moment. With adrenaline surging through his veins, Sam pulled his companion towards the embankment of the luminous water. The shadows swirled, festering like a storm, their whispers becoming a deafening chorus, weaving a tapestry of terror designed to ensnare their minds. We have to push through that tunnel. Sam pointed toward the cave entrance, glowing ominously with an ethereal light, a possible path of escape. They surged toward it, and with every frantic kick, the biting cold of the dark waters seemed to grudgingly recede. The shadows, though diminished by their burst of determination, still lashed out, chasing them like wraiths yearning to drag them back to despair. No! Come back! The woman's voice pierced through the night, furious, desperate. Each syllable felt like icy daggers piercing Sam's resolve. You can't escape. You belong to the night. But Sam's instinct, honed by survival and necessity, ignited a fire within him. Forget her! He yelled to his companion, pulling harder as they neared the flickering opening. We're done listening to lies. Just as they reached the entrance, shadows closed in like hungry jaws, groping at their heels. Sam threw himself into the tunnel, dragging the man behind him. Ethics and fears melted away as he swam for their lives, desperate to pierce through the veil of darkness. You can't just leave. The woman's voice became a shriek, echoing off the cavern walls. You will return, they always do. Panic raced through Sam's limbs, but he surged forward. The sensation of escaping the shadows filled him with exhilaration. There was power in defiance, power in choosing survival. They pushed deeper into the tunnel, the haunting laughter fading behind them. But darkness was patient, relentless. The tunnel twisted and turned, pushing them deeper into cold solitude. The soft glow at the end of the tunnel flickered, turning into a radiant beacon. Sam's lungs burned, but hope propelled them. With one last surge, they broke through the water's surface and gasped for breath. Frigid air rushed into their lungs, feeling like the first sunlight after a storm. The sunlight shone brightly above, illuminating the rocky outcrop and calming the raging thrums inside them. They both clambered onto the rocky shore, collapsing to catch their breath. The warm sunlight felt warm against their damp skin, like a sweet reprieve from the heaviness that had clung to them for so long. What just happened? The man stammered, confusion flickering in his eyes. Everything, Sam replied, finally allowing the gravity of their encounter to settle in. We faced it. That darkness, it's part of every fear we've ever harbored. The man nodded, comprehension dawning. We're free? For now, Sam sighed. You may outrun shadows, but they linger. They haunt everyone, they just can't touch us like they did back there. He felt it too, the remnants of dread pulsing in momentum behind him. As they stared out at the shimmering waves, the whispers of the ocean faded, each undulation carrying a reminder of their harrowing encounter. What now? The man asked, uncertainty creeping back. Now, we live, Sam declared with quiet strength. We face it. All of it. But we do it together, right? The man nodded. In that moment, they made an unspoken pact to embrace the light above rather than succumb to the dark below. They wouldn't forget. They never disregard the shadows, but they also accept the truth of their strength together. As they descended the rocks, retreating from the ocean's edge, Sam could feel the lingering stares of the lost souls below. Each one carried a tale, a warning. But he was alive. They were free. And as long as they recognized their battles, they would thrive against the darkness whenever it beckoned again. There was power in hope. There was power in truth, and even deeper, Sam learned there lay power within himself, a resilience that could withstand whatever horrors the depths below held, as long as he held on to the light above. In that moment, Sam turned to his newfound ally, a thread of determination binding them together, ready to face whatever came next, not alone, but as a team. As the sunlight sparkled over the water, Sam whispered a promise to the waves. You won't get me. Not today. And as they moved onward, the lingering shadows faded into the backdrop. Stay vigilant. Stay brave. The ocean held its secrets, but they would not keep him from his course. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more fans like you. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. What do you think lies beneath the ocean's surface? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Only true fans understand how important your support is.